Hello YouTube and welcome back to Empyrion episode 2. So I did manage to craft a couple of items from our previous episode, and so what we'll go ahead and do is we'll get the rest of the basic items to get our base up and running, and then our next goal is to get our small vehicle up and running, and then we can actually go out and start finding some resources. I did craft some drill charges, filler and flattener charges. I've created myself a remove and repair tool, and some remove and repair charges as well. So I'll get them moved across. And we should be good now for drill charges, and we've got some more hull blocks. So what we'll go ahead and do is we'll queue up our small generator, which we can't do because we need the reactor. Okay, so we'll do our reactor, we'll get our small generator, we'll get our small fuel tank queued up, and we may have we don't have enough. I thought we had enough metal components. So let's create 10 more. So I went ahead and created the extra motors we'd need for our large constructor. How are we doing for fuel? Good. So the basic idea is, once we've got our advanced constructor working in our base, we will just use this constructor here for our raw materials. So then we're not having to wait and queue up the raw materials and the items we need to craft with. So that should be good once we've got that. So we'll get our small generator and our large constructor. Okay, so while we're just waiting for them to finish, we'll just go ahead and put a few more blocks down on our base. And hopefully we can get some lighting going, which will make it a lot easier for you guys to see. It is rather dark. There we go. So there's enough room on there that we can get our items placed down, get some lighting going. Okay, there's our large generator. Oh, what are we missing? Computers. Get 2 computers going real quick. And our large constructor. And it is good that the way that they've done the planets, when they do rotate, that you can actually see the different planets go through the sky. or ones that are close anyway that you can see going through the sky. Now, I'm not sure later on whether they're going to make it where you are going to need actual like cold survival gear or something like that. And this actual section was new in the latest update that they did. The only thing that you can use at the moment is the helmet, which is your standard that you have. The rest of it isn't actually in yet. They've just put the placeholders in, so you can't use them just yet. Okay, so we've got our constructor. So what we're going to do now is we'll take our items. In fact, I'll leave that in there just because I haven't used plastic at all for anything up to yet. We'll just go ahead and shut that down. We'll save fuel for the moment. Okay. So the first thing we need to do is we'll get our generator down and our small fuel tank. And you can pretty much just rotate everything on a single axis all the way around. But you can also change multiple angles. And you will eventually just get used to working how you actually maneuver them around. So we'll fuel that up and we'll get ourselves powered up. Get our large constructor down. And then what we can do, we'll just okay, so I need to make some lights and I need some metal components. In fact, I'm not going to make that many. I'll just make 6 just so I can get a few lights up and running. 1, 2, 3. Then at least we can see where things are around us. We'll put one there, and there we go. So straight away, just even with the one light, you can see that we've now got plenty of light. And we'll just put one there and one there. So our next thing is to start prepping the items to get our escape pod up and running, where we can at least use her. And we're going to need the items, which is the green objects for small vessel. So there's that. So we need metal components. We need 5. Let's just get 2 of them built. So we need an RCS. Now, because the vehicles or the space vehicles are 3-dimensional, so we'll need thrusters to go left, right, up, down, and back. So we'll need 2, 4, 5 for the initial. So we've got our RCS. So we need 5 mortars. So that's 10 metal components. Now, when we put the thrusters on our escape pod, it won't be the best handling. In fact, she'll probably handle like a canal barge or something, an ocean-going liner. But the main thing is, once she's able to move and we can start getting other resources, we'll then be able to go off and... Oh, we need cables. Okay, so let's do 10 cables. Copper is the only one I'm not worried about because we have a deposit there and we found another deposit not far away. So we'll go ahead and get them queued up. And then once it starts coming light, we'll actually start putting the items on, which is not going to be too long. We've got 1 hour and 45 minutes of darkness left before it'll start getting light again. Okay, so we've got 5 mortars. We need 25 pipes. So what would the pipes come out at? So you need 22 pipes. We'll need 25 metal components. That's 20. There's 26, so that'll be enough. And what else will we need? Electronics. So we'll need 29 electronics. Let's do 30. Then that should be enough. Oh, we need cables. Cables. That should be enough for 5 thrusters. Now, I'm using the directional thrusters just because they take a lot less fuel. We don't need a huge amount of force in directions for the vehicle, even though the vehicle is quite heavy as she is there. But we just need just enough where we can get her airborne and just fly around and find the different resources. Later on, what we'll do is she'll probably be just retired and we will actually have a vehicle that we build ourselves. We'll build 2, probably one for combat and one that will be able to defend itself but more as a utility vehicle. Okay, so while we're just waiting on that, we do have some more blocks, so we might as well carry on building our base out a little bit. And eventually I want to have this going down slightly, all the way down. And then we'll have a bit of a dock here, a bit of a sea dock. How are we doing? Okay, so we have our RCS. So we at least might as well get her prepared now. Roughly where we're going to start putting things. So yeah. Now, when you remove a block, you destroy it, but you don't lose the resources. You actually get the resources that was used to make that item back. Just remember that when you shoot to destroy the block out, it will always damage the block that is behind it. So just make sure that you just go over and repair it as well. We'll repair the damage, I'm guessing, from when we crash landed. And I'm going to take that one out. Because I want that one out. We're getting daylight now. Make it a bit easier to see. I can go ahead and put one of the RCSs in. I will eventually put two RCSs on this craft. Just so it makes it a lot more maneuverable for us to fly around. And there we go. So there's one RCS. And we need... take him out. Another thing they did in the update is, for those that haven't noticed, the cargo containers now have been changed. This is an actual oxygen station. So if you actually started on Omicron, you would actually be using this. So what you would do is you put oxygen bottles in here, and if you come up and stand next to the oxygen sensor, it will actually transfer oxygen to you. But we're fortunate we are actually on a breathable atmosphere, so we don't have that to worry about. Not just yet, anyway. Okay, so just go back and see if our items are ready. And we've got R5 directional. Now I'm actually going to queue up items to make a fridge and a food processor, so that'll allow us basically to, any wildlife that we catch and kill, we can get the meat from and actually use. So, and because meat has a perish time, there are times where you do want food to spoil and perish, but we don't want our main food items to perish. So we'll go ahead and get that queued. So we need one computer. So it's starting to look pretty bad on parts. One computer, do 10 cables, and 10 electronics. Get a computer built. Need some pipes. let's just queue in that. Let's see if we can just get our ship airborne. Now, when you're placing the thrusters, make sure that they're actually pointing the right way. Now, the back of the thruster, that is the opposite direction to where the thruster is facing, will have a wire mesh on it. So there we go. So we know that that is facing down. There's our left thruster. Our right thruster. Our down thruster. And we need one in the front. There we go. So now we should be able to power her up, and she will hopefully fly, albeit she will not fly the greatest. And need one more thruster. But at least she's now next to the base. So what do I need? I need a mortar. Hopefully this will give us the thrust where we can at least control our vertical speed. So here we go. So back to making the fridge. We need 3 electronics, 7 metal components. So 3 electronics. And 2 of them will give us 7 metal components. We've got the thruster in that side, so we'll put the other one here. I can't just quite get. That'll allow me to, yes. So let's just press that. Yes. So now we have vertical control. We should be able to hopefully land on the base. So we need to get some more landing gears, but I'm not just overly worried about that for the moment. Can we get a fridge? Yes. Right, so we need a food processor, which is 2 computers. Two metal components, 4 electronics. Get them built. And we'll go ahead and put our fridge down. Again, I'm not too worried about where I'm placing anything at this time. It's just a case of just getting them down where we can actually start utilising them. And then our next task is literally go out hunting for resources. So what do we need? I thought I had enough. Oh, control device. Then a computer. Okay, so 2 control devices. There's 2 control devices. 3 electronics. 1, 2, 3. And 6 metal components. So our primary goals at the moment is we need promethium, iron, cobalt, and silicon we've got to find as well, because we've already got copper. That's close, so that's not drastic, so we already know where we've got copper, so we just need to find the others. Go ahead and fill that up. We've got some more items we can just throw in. We'll make all this pretty again once we've got a lot more items that we can deal with. And our food processor. Once you start rolling materials in, this game really gets fun, because then you can start your design work and building basically whatever you can imagine, you can actually build. And there's our food processor. The only thing we should really do is we should put a fridge on our craft, but I'm not going to worry about that just yet. So what I'm going to do is we're here, copper's that way. So we'll just go ahead and fly. We've got to be careful that we don't bump into any drones, just because we can't defend ourselves. There's no weapons on this at all. Although the handleability is quite nice. It's not too bad. Okay, so we found an alien tower. Now the alien towers, that's a big one and all, will actually shoot at you if you go anywhere near them. Because we're not really in a position where we can fight or defend ourselves, we'll just avoid that for the moment. We found a magnesium deposit, so that's good, and we found iron, so that's good. So we're not just going to go after that just yet, because I just want to make sure that I can find a promethium deposit first. Now at the moment they're having a bit of an issue with the poles. If I remember what was said, I can't go that way because there's a tower. So they are working, oh there's another iron, so that's good. They are working on getting the poles opened up, but just at the moment they're locked out. So what they've done is, you can see that there's this sort of iron electronic mesh type thing. There's another tower. V3 tower as well. So from what I can work out, you've got V1 towers and V3. I haven't seen a V2 tower. So I don't know if that's it, or whether it's just the two versions. It's magnesium. Oh, and there's a drone. And it's shooting at us. Let's go, 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 go. Magnesium and iron. Was that 2 irons it's just found? We found silicon. Yep, we're another one. Right. And that's another iron. So just 2 more iron, cobalt to find, silicon, promethium. Ah, promethium. Now, pretty much as it is in... that's a drop. That's not good. Well, the most delicate landings. Where is he? Oh, more drones. When you've killed a drone, make sure you go and loot it. Oh, food. I didn't even notice my food getting that low. And there we go. Because you will get parts. And any part that you don't have to build yourself is always good. So our craft's quite close to us. That's not too bad. Same as what it were for when we dug out our bit for the base. All you're going to do is just drill down until you can find promethium. Now promethium is the easiest one that you can to find to mine due to it's nice and bright. So it's not too bad. I reckon you're shooting. Is that another drone? It is. There we go. And in order to swim in water, oh, there'll be another drone, which is always nice because it can shoot you while you're in water. Go, 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 go. Come on, 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 come on. Perhaps should have tried shooting that while I were in the water. Okay, and that heartbeat is for lack of stamina. Which can be a bit confusing. I've had it several times where I did when I was playing on the test bits of just learning where that went off and looking at my health going, but I'm at full health, I don't understand. But it's not, that's for your stamina. Now, obviously, where we are now, we need to be mindful of the local residents. Now it's just a case of mining your way through the Prometheum. So I'll carry on mining this out. Getting that all done. And just okay. I thought I actually heard there are like a flurry type thing that walks around that causes you no end of problems. Nope, I'm here. Now, how you work on how you do your mining really just depends on your style of play. What I tend to do is when I'm doing mine research, once I've got the basics up and running, is I will literally just spend my time going after Prometheum. So I'll find a Prometheum mine and then completely empty it. Then I'll go and find iron and then completely empty the mine of iron, and so on and so on. But how you do it depends on your game style and how you play. I actually prefer to do the mass mining. And then once you've finished going through and getting the resources of all the mass of one mine of each item, you've got plenty of resources then to start building and other things, and you can be crafting a lot of items while you're away, getting more materials. Literally is just a case of just going around and just drilling it all out. What I'll do is I'll carry on mining, but I will speed the video up. Mine lapses, I've actually heard someone say. These drones are loving me. Okay, so we've almost finished mining now, so we'll just get the last few bits and then we will head back in. As you can see, just even up to now, I've managed to get 284. Each promethium ore is equivalent to one fuel. Because one promethium ore gives you 10 promethium pellets, and it's 10 promethium pellets per fuel pack. Okay, so as you can see, I'm almost emptied this out. And there we go. Okay, so that's that deposit all gone. So we'll just jetpack ourselves out. And then what I'll do is we'll get our ship to craft our promethium pellets as we fly around. Okay, so we are good on promethium, so I think we shall grab some iron whilst we're here. Ship there. Where did that iron go? So whilst we're close, we might as well go ahead and get some iron. A lot of this, what I'll do is I'll do this off camera. Fight. In fact, what I'll go ahead and do is I'll end the video